It's a typical adventuring day in your D&D campaign universe. Your party has just defeated a very strong boss monster and looted its corpse. Your rogue searches the corpse for any magical items that could be useful to the party and finds a headband of intellect. When asked what the rogue found on the corpse, the rogue lies to the rest of the party and says there was nothing on the monster. And then you hear the DM say those words that can be the bane or saving grace of the party. Make a bluff check. The next few seconds are incredibly crucial for everyone at the table. Anything could happen and everyone has a role to play here. Whether it's buying the bluff, accepting that your plan to hog the treasure didn't pan out and the party won't trust you for a while, or, if you're the DM, controlling the situation. If the rogue rolls high enough, the party is supposed to believe him wholeheartedly, right? Well, not exactly. There are a bunch of different ways this situation can be handled, and I would be lying if I said a majority of the responsibility doesn't lie with the DM. There are several different ways to handle bluff checks in your campaign. You could have a house rule for your players to be honest with their party members and only use their superhuman lying on NPCs, with strict supervision on the DM's part. You could have your characters tell you exactly what they want to say and give them or their target advantage or disadvantage depending on how good or bad their lie is. You could simply let someone convince whoever they want, but make a situation where believing someone's lie amounts to exactly dick. And if all else fails, or the lie is just too stupid to believe, you can just shut it down. You have the person being lied to instantly realize what is happening, and the bluff blows up in someone's face. There is a saying I've heard in the D&D community, which is, a high bluff check can be as strong as the sharpest blade. To which I say, and all of you should too...
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
And if anyone in your campaign ever complains to you about it, look them right in the eye and in the most smug way possible, you say,
I'm God.
Now, as some of you may know, I recently did a video about a horrible one-day campaign I was in, and how at a certain part, a succubus bluffed a guard who was asking her to come in for questioning into a mushy paste. This is a situation where the guard's trust in this succubus should amount to exactly dick. This guard is doing his job, and it shouldn't matter if he believes her. His superiors are the people who need convincing. However, the guard insists and the succubus keeps lying. This is where the modifiers come into play. This was a 3-5 game, so there was no advantage or disadvantage, so when the guard was lied to a second time, he should have gotten a +5 or +10 bonus depending on the succubus's level, and have that stack with each lie, until the obvious conclusion... Yes. Okay. I see. Arrest them? There are other ways the situation could have gone as well. It didn't have to be handled by bluffing. You could have just as easily tried to bribe the guard, and then the DM would have had to decide if this guard was someone who could be bribed. And if all else failed, this succubus could have just taken the guard to a nearby alley and... There's no way he wouldn't have just let her go after that. As I said in my Why Do We Roleplay video, I play D&D as a form of escapism, so immersion is everything to me. And when I see shit like this unfold in front of me, all I can do is bottle it up and get so pissed off that I eventually make an entire video about this subject. This was not the only time I saw this sort of thing happen, however. In fact, I've been on the receiving end of this kind of insanity in a 5th edition campaign. So I'm playing a dragonborn wizard who has gotten a hard-on for some ancient magical armor he found, which will give him all kinds of crazy ice-themed powers, but it's cursed. I'm in a small dungeon with the other 2 player characters, and the only thing standing between me and this armor is a door and a tiefling player character with a really high deception bonus. Now, what was interesting about the other 2 player characters in this scenario was that they were not actually friends with my character. He didn't even like them. They had come here with a band of thieves to try and steal his armor, which he had brought to this town to be uncursed. So when I go to open the door to this room, the tiefling says, "Wait, don't go in there!" Why not? I just took a massive dump and demons came out. I turn to my DM, assuming I don't even have to roll, because who would believe this literal shit? And he tells me to roll an insight. I was speechless, which was mostly because I was full of that kind of mad where you can't even say anything. Of course, my character believed the tiefling and was almost convinced that tieflings could shit out demons. The point I am trying to make is that there are lots of ways to handle bluff checks in D&D and plenty of real-life ramifications on how you choose to go about it. Remember the rogue from the beginning of this video who kept the headband for themselves? Well, not all players are going to be okay with that, and some might actually resent you outside of your game for it. And when things in-game start affecting how you see your friends outside of it, you may want to reconsider how your game works.
Disclaimer, the only thing I've actually gotten mad about that happened in a D&D campaign that I was mad about outside of the campaign was one of the characters breaking a barrel I had that I was carrying around with my character that was full of orange soda, and that was when I was first starting, and then I realized who the fuck cares, it's a game, and I'm not going to be mad about this anymore.
So for all you DMs out there, just remember that just because one of your player characters has a high bluff check does not mean they can get away with shit like this.
Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
As always, thank you all so much for watching the video. I hope you liked me ranting about D&D stuff that bugs me. I do that a lot. If you did, you can click the like button, and if you didn't, you should hit the dislike button, because then I'll know if this video is good or not. You can also subscribe to my channel so you can know when I post new videos. Also, go follow me on Twitch so you can see what kinds of shenanigans I get into when I'm not constantly glancing down to look at my script. I also have a Twitter if you want to follow me there. But regardless of what you do with all that stuff, I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.